Hi, my name is Marino. I have a three-book fantasy series called Return of the Shadows, which most of you probably already know about. But I also have a short story book called I Was Prompted to Write These Stories, a love story called Carl's Journey, and now I have Tinsel's First Snowfall, my first children's book. All of these books can be found on Amazon.com, Barnes& and Nobles, or if you use a Kindle, you can get them that way too. So I have a book of short stories. It's called I Was Prompted to Write These Stories, and this book came about in a very fun way. My friend Rob suggested that we do a one-word challenge, and I asked him what that was. And he said we give each other a word or a short phrase, and we have to write 1,000 to a 1,500 word short story. We exchange them and read each other's story and tell each other, what we think. And that was a fun thing to do. I did. Two of his friends joined us. The very first prompt I got to give, which was diner, and I ended up writing a love story because we said we wanted to stretch ourselves. We didn't want to write in the genres we normally write in. So he told me I had to write a love story, and I loved it. It was fun. We did this every week for several months, and we had a really good time doing it. And it gave me the first 11 short stories in my book. And the last 9 came from a friend at work, Mary Jean. I just told her to give me the next 9 things that come to her mind, and I took those and used those as prompts. So that gave me the 20 stories for the book. So there's a huge variety. It goes from a children's story to a horror story, and everything in between. There's romance. And that was the fun thing of doing these stories is all the different kind of stories that I was writing. And I found that I like to write different stories. I thought I'd always be in the fantasy series, in the fantasy genre, and I found I like doing other genres as well. The children's book that just came out, Tinsel's First Snowfall, came from the run prompt that I got from Mary Jean. Her one was the first Snowfall, and that is the children's story in the book. And we took that and beefed it up a little bit. Another guy I work with, Diane Searfoss, he did the artwork for that book, which is amazing. He did such a great job. And we're talking about working on some more children's books together. So I'm excited about that. But the children's book is a very cute children's book, and I'm really proud of that one. It turned out really nice. Every good children's story has a lesson to be learned, and I think the lesson in this story is to never give up on your dreams. If there's something you want to do, just keep trying and working at it, and eventually, you'll get to where you want to be. So Carl's Journey is, again, the romance I wrote, the short story that I turned into a book. The characters in that book are a lot of fun, and I can kind of identify with Carl a little bit as far as because, coming out to family and friends, it can be very hard to do and very emotional thing to do. So it was fun to kind of write about that. The mother in the book is probably one of my favorite characters. I wish my mother had been as supportive of me as Carl's mother is of him in the book. And the whole time I'm writing that book, Carl's mother, I kept thinking of Kathy Bates. Every time I write a line, I could hear her saying it. And so I actually sent Kathy a book, so I hope she got it. I really don't know how that idea came about. When we talked about doing the first prompt, I had said we can't write in the genres we always write in, so he told me I needed to write a love story, and I had automatically figured I was going to write a gay love story because when you write about what you know or what you like. So that was an easy choice to do. And then when I just started writing, things started to fall into place. I have a great muse, so whoever that is, thank you. Because as I'm writing, things just come to mind, and characters come to mind, and things fall into place, and it's fun. It's fun to develop the characters. I'd love to do more of the short stories with the guys. It's just getting our schedules together to be able to do that. I am going to be doing another short story book, however. I went to a writers conference last fall, and one of the classes I took was about using music to write, and he played instrumental pieces, and you just sat and listened to that, and whatever words came to mind is what you used as your prompts. So I fully intend on doing a book that way, going on YouTube and pulling up just all different kind of instrumental pieces and listening to them, and coming up with stories that way. I think it will be a fun book to do. So I would say to other people, like, if you have a friend, if you have someone that you can do those short story exercises with, it's a great way to get a start on a book. Because your brain is focused on doing a short story, but when you're done with that, you can look at it and say, you know what, there's a lot more I can do with this. There are several other short stories in my short story book that people have said to me, you need to make this into a full-length book. So it's a good way to get some starts for a book, or some ideas flowing for a book, and it's so much fun to do with friends. It really is. I had such a good time doing it. Carl's journey is going to turn into a series of journeys, and if you've read it, you'll understand what I'm talking about when I say those journeys cross. So that is also in the works. So yeah, I have a lot of things going on in my head. I mean, and I'm absolutely going to be doing more children's books. Stein, the guy that does the illustration, has a bunch of stuff drawn that we didn't use in this book, that we're going to, and different characters that weren't even in this book, that I'm going to write stories around. So yes, there's definitely going to be more children's books involving Tinsel and his friends. Yep. So I think probably for me the most rewarding was Carl's Journey. A, it's the longest book I've written. I had almost 300 pages, so that's a really long book for me. B, it was just a very fun book. The characters are amazing in that book. The way the book ends, I really, really like the way the book ends, and it wasn't how I originally seen it ending. And a character comes in at the end that was unexpected, that I hadn't planned on, but that happens a lot when you write, like characters pop up, you're like, yes. And so it made the ending very, very good, I think. And so I'm looking forward to doing more of that kind of writing as far as the journey. So right now, the most challenging for me is what I'm working on now, is book 4, 5, and 6 of Return of the Shadows. And that is because the characters in there are going to be coming in contact with some new creatures that they have never met before. And so coming up with these creatures and creating them is going to be very fun, but it's also going to be very challenging. And I'm looking forward to doing that. So I'm very excited about this next series of Return of the Shadows. So Authors in the Park this year was held July 29th. Second annual. It was a great success. We had 21 authors there. We had a new thing called Children's Corner. The ladies that had the children's book did a wonderful job reading to the children and having activities for them. Rob did live interviews on Facebook, which went very, very well. So it was a great success overall. Sold a lot of books. So I'm looking forward to next July for the third annual. But in the meantime, we are working with the Chamber of Commerce in Wilkes-Barre to put on authors around the holidays in November there. And I'm also going to be talking to the Chamber in Berwick to set something up there in April for the authors as well. So we've got a lot going on. And I'm also going to be talking to Mount Laurel to try to set up a one-day authors conference, writers conference there. So definitely keep an ear open. We've got a lot going on this year, and I'm looking forward to helping as many local authors as I can with Authors Inc. We are also now starting to do some publishing. So Authors Inc. is growing, and we're looking forward to providing a lot of services for local authors.